Hello.
There we go. Hello, welcome to Chubby Boy Magic.
I hope you got that on.
Yes, I did. I messed that up.
You do use the shit out of buttons, dude.
I know. I put that one on all up so fast.
Yes,
Hold on.
he does.
There we go. On this episode, we have our special guest, Mr. himself, Mike Cook.
What's up?
How are you, dog?
Man, I'm pretty good. Just, getting off work for the day. Come up here, see you guys, have a couple beers, and chop
dude.
it up.
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot wait. When we started this silly adventure of fucking podcasting, he was like, who all was on your list? And I was like, bing, 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 bing. And then you were like, top, I think it was the second or the third I went up there because I was like, Joe Rogan. No, I'm kidding about Joe Rogan. It was you, not Joe Jackson, John Jackson, although my buddy Joe Jackson will be on. I'm trying to think of who else it was, like, just a bunch of random people.
He was high up there. I'm
trying to think if you were number one or number two. Are you number one or are you number two? Like one of those. Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I am. Normally I'm one, but
In my head, you're number one because you actually said yes. You're
number one in our hearts.
That's right. There you go.
Yay.
Yeah. So I've met you offhand a few times because you're friends with one of my neighbors, and I've run into you at a couple of different bars. But dude, you're the shit.
Yep.
Because we started talking about all the fanboy shit where I was like, dude, Mike's doing all this crazy shit. So all right, where can people find you first? On Instagram, Facebook, where?
So Instagram, it's Evel Midget, spelled EVEL, just like Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
It's The Evel Midget on Facebook.
Okay.
And then if I have room and I decided to delete people off, my regular Facebook is just Mike Cook.
Yeah, that's how I found you.
So that's a funny story. So, I did America's Got Talent a long time ago.
Okay, how was that?
It's okay. It had some really cool perks.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm not exactly the happiest about how it went.
Yeah.
Some toward the show, other things toward some of the people I was on the show with.
Yeah.
Right.
But so my phone just starts blowing up the next day.
Yeah.
Because my shirt had the link to my website I had at the time.
Okay.
Well, the only thing you could do on that website is go to my Facebook page. Well, it didn't go to my fan page. My buddy
It went to your real one?
It went to my real one.
Yeah.
So my phone was literally getting hot.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, turn it off. I'm like, it's turning itself off. I think it's melting.
Yeah. I think it went Subtronic, man.
So I finally just, okay, fuck it. So after work or whatever, I just hit select all, accept. I don't have time to look through all this shit.
Right.
Wrong.
Wrong.
Take that time.
Dude, so many farm roll requests, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Fartown and Farmville. He was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, I won't let you do this.
Yeah, so I've slowly, now that I have a little time here and there, I'll just go through and be like, yeah, I have no fucking clue who this is.
Yeah. I have 1,100 or almost 1,200 people on Instagram that somehow follow me. Almost all of them are fake.
Yeah.
And then when I started it, I started following all these pages. I just started going through and trying to delete a bunch of them. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
I did that a couple years ago where I had a couple thousand, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if I don't personally know you enough that I I know who that is, I'd be like, delete. Yeah.
I don't care if all the fake ones follow me. Great, cool,
yeah,
looks cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But,
kind of how I do now.
on my dad's Instagram, because I run the shop,
Yeah.
Steve Cook Creation page, and you'll notice there's hardly anything to follow because I'm like, no, I follow that person on my own.
Yeah, why would I do
Yeah,
that with
yeah.
So it's only the few people that's on there. It's good guys and
Yeah.
people doing whatever still.
Yeah. Well,
John Jackson.
Yeah, because and it's funny because you're talking about
I have to go his post 14 fucking times because of all the damn pages.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And so we both have
We are running into that now with we have our personal, and then we have the Chubby Boy.
Yeah.
And so I'll be doing something. It'll be so and so Chubby Boy, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
The
Or
best one is
I'll go to send a message and then I switch accounts somehow and I don't even know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Nah, the best one is, everybody knows my hashtag, Evel Midget approved.
Yeah.
And there's a cool story of how that came about, but, in the bar, yeah, man, that's cool. Like, next morning, you're like, oh, shit, that was on Dad's page.
Your dad's like, I don't know why you keep liking all this. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know why you're doing
My
it.
dad has no idea. Like,
He doesn't look at any of it?
he didn't even know how to get on it.
Does he have a flip phone?
No, he actually has a regular phone. He just doesn't care about social media. He likes it a little bit,
Yeah.
Right.
like with, the cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So he'll see stuff, but if it's like, hey, Dad, did you know you got tagged in this? No.
Yeah.
Like, well, you've already said something about. At first, he was like very anti. Show it to me first before you say anything. And I'm like,
Right,
Dad,
right.
I could have done this like 5 hours ago and just been done with it.
Yeah.
The big thing now, because he does use his phone a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Why do these people like John Jackson? Why is John asking you if the car is ready to shoot? Why isn't he asking me? And I'm like, you don't ever check your text messages very often.
Yeah.
You never answer the damn phone.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm your personal assistant for this when it comes to this
Yeah.
shit.
No
Yeah.
I mean, Mom calls me. She called me today and she's like, is your dad around? And I'm like, no, he didn't go to the welding shop with me. And she's like, oh, never mind. Click.
Yeah.
Like, I know he didn't answer his phone.
Yeah. You're like, fuck. Okay. So for the listeners that don't know who you are, there's a lot to unpack about you.
There is a lot.
I
Like-
gave him the little bio,
Yeah.
and I was like, just the things that you probably don't know that I don't know. But you're from where?
I'm from here in Oklahoma City, born and raised.
Okay.
Mostly South Side. Lived in Yukon a little bit.
Yeah.
Lived not far from here for like a year.
Okay.
But lived in Atlanta for pretty much off and on 2 years. Spent a month or so in Pennsylvania one time, and same for San Francisco. Used to go out there a lot.
Oh, really? What was out in San Fran?
Adult videos
Oh, shit.
and Midget Uppercut the band.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
you're out there
nice.
partying.
Oh yeah, like I used to just go spend a week, maybe 2 weeks, and just hang out. My buddy Guido, he put me up at his house, which really it's like a shop that he uses at his house. But
Right.
it's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
and then I had some other friends that I would kind of bounce around on their couches and stuff, and
Yeah.
we had a good time.
Yeah. so-
Nice.
I actually went and hung out for a week. New Year's
where?
in San Francisco.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Dwarves played at the Kilowatt Bar, and they hired me to be in a Speedo and a Mexican wrestling mask and introduce the bands. And then, like, there's this band called 666,
Yeah.
but it's like six, like SICSIX. Yeah.
Sixes.
Yeah, 666s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, dude, the lead singer chick, you need to go check it out. A, they're a good band.
Okay.
Right.
B,
Number one, most importantly, musically talented. B, hot.
yes.
Yeah.
Like-
Give him some traffic.
And they were all super cool.
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, like I had a great time. The chick that owns Kilowatt, super cool chick. I knew her from when she worked at Bottom of the Hill, which is where my buddy works at the door.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
So you party a little bit is what you would like to say.
Yes.
Just a teensy bit. Responsibly.
let's just say I've had my face look just like yours more than once.
Yeah. For the listeners that don't know, I fell and fucking broke my nose like last week. So
Well, you were
a little inebriated.
a little.
A little.
I mean, like, even in my stickers, you see how I have a scar on my nose.
Yeah.
I added that. And then there's like a scar on my head.
Yeah.
It was total.
Yeah.
You got to wear it proudly. Yeah. Like
Yeah, party scars, man.
yeah. Dude, I fucking earned this shit.
Because I've got like 16, 18 others that are, from surgeries and all that stuff when I was a kid. So, like,
Yeah.
and, I didn't, you just walked in, you felt fine, you came out, you had a scar and it hurt for 3 months. Like, no, it's like, I earned this one.
Right.
Yeah, you're like,
right.
fucking got that.
Yep.
So one of the things that I knew that you did some of it, but I didn't know as much, is that you do a lot of stunt performance. Like do you still as much, or you did as a lot more?
Up until 8 years ago, I did more than I do now.
Okay.
What I did at the Starboard show last February was kind of a, hey, Evel Knievel, Sky Cycle, and all the stuff is going to be there.
Yeah.
And I helped get that booked at Starbird's. Well, we've been trying to figure out a way to do this. We've heard you've got a way to do it inside the building, ride through fire.
Yeah.
On a motorcycle.
Right.
And so I was like, I can do it. As a matter of fact, now the bike's not on the ceiling at the SEBA station because it was there for 6-8 years.
Right.
Up on the ceiling. And so I got it down. Moto Option helped me with some new graphics. I got new plastics. My buddy Nate at Strictly Hot Rods got that for me. And,
That's super cool.
Yeah, and then your neighbor Chris tried to catch me on fire again.
Yeah, that motherfucker. If it hasn't happened to all of us at least once, you walk past his house and he's like, come here, blow you the fuck up. He's like,
Welcome to hell.
told you I got the buttons down.
Yes. So him and Bankman helped me do that. There's some stuff in the works I'd really like to tell you, but I can't.
Oh, well, we'll just have to talk about it when it comes a little closer.
Because
Hey, you can tell us. Nobody listens to
We
this.
have like 8 people that listen to this thing.
no, it's because like I literally told the guy I wouldn't do it. I don't want to jinx it.
That's fine. That's fine.
I had like an hour phone. Yeah, well, I had an hour phone conversation with this dude.
Oh, nice.
So it's basically, if we get it right, I'll have my own show.
That'd be cool as fuck, dude.
That'd be really cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
See?
So
Getting it.
it'll be kind of it'll be more of a lifestyle show if I do
Right,
it. Not
right.
a total just stunt, not a car building show.
Yeah.
It'll be where like, basically it shows me and Chris and Paintman just
living fucking life.
going around partying a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice.
That.
So, huge Evel Knievel fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of the videos.
I actually messaged Kristen.
She's kicking ass.
Oh, dude.
Just
I talk to her almost every day, like through Instagram.
Yeah.
like, sending each other funny stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, she's so cool. Like
Yeah.
the first time I met her, I was like, okay, like, and then the more I was like, cool, like, don't act weird around her. And then the more we got to hanging out, I was like, this chick's rad.
Yeah. Well, I was telling him, so I took him 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. We had to make a trip up to Kansas City. And I, like 6 months before that, I was going up to Kansas City. I've got a brother that lives up there.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to Tony.
was driving up, going up to through Topeka. Well, I didn't know that there's the museum.
Yeah.
And so, like, get up to where I'm making make a turn, and I look over, and it's like Evel Knievel Museum. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold, what? Go in, go through it, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding? It's like the middle of nowhere, Kansas.
Yep.
Like
He fucking told me, and I could
I was
not
like,
believe him.
was he
Yeah.
from here? What's the
Yeah.
what's the significance?
Yeah.
And they're like, no,
No,
we
we
just
were-
decided to put it here. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Do you not remember what the significance was? So that
Yeah,
particular. Okay, so the Harley shop restores motorcycles and stuff, and then they were like, "We can restore this tractor trailer," which I was like,
Yeah, it was big.
bold fucking move."
It was big red. 'Cause
Yeah.
Dude.
somebody found it out in a field.
I have a video that Latham McKay, which is who has almost everything Evel Knievel ever had.
Right.
He sent me a video of how they restored that thing. It is
Yeah.
insane.
It's
Dude,
it's insane. When we went through there, I was telling him about it, and he was kind of like, yeah, okay.
I kind of thought it was gonna be a roadside gimmick kind of thing, I was like, okay, cool. It's like a Harley's.
nah, it's like
Oh.
rad.
yeah.
So it's fixing to move to Vegas. This
That's
summer.
what
What?
I had heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're moving it. They're moving it out of Topeka.
It's gonna move.
Oh, really?
Closer over by the old strip.
Okay.
I don't know the exact. Well, I know kind of where it is, but I don't know
Yeah.
really. Which reminds me, I need to call Latham anyway. I hadn't talked to him in about a month. But they're gonna do a documentary on moving it, And Lathan wants me to come and drive one of the trucks back.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be fucking the shit, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I saw something about them talking about changing it, but I wasn't for sure what they were going to do. I didn't know they were bringing in different exhibits.
Yeah, I heard somebody was telling me that. I forget who it was. We were talking to a couple months ago. They were saying they were moving it out to Vegas. And I was like...
Yeah, and then they're going to like... Some of my stuff might actually end up in it. I don't know yet, but we've been talking about it. Like kind of
right.
Influence. Because see, the whole evil part of my deal is in 2014, Max Baker Jr. and I went to Butte, and I had gotten hired by Alicia Knievel, the youngest daughter, to do Walls of Fire during Evil Days. And I had been up there multiple times before that. Just didn't do any stunts. I went with Trigger.
Right. Yeah.
And so my buddy Rick Knight painted my helmet. And he's like, dude, check it out. Look what I did. Well, it says Evel Midget right on the front. And I'm like, man, that's badass. But
Yeah.
I think I can get in trouble for that.
Yeah, because they're really protective of the name.
Oh, yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll get into that. Kristen has a deal that anytime somebody writes something about Evel Knievel on the internet, somehow she can track that.
She got the power.
And it can her and Kelly can track it. And at one time they were like heavy on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as bad now as it used to be.
I think it comes in big waves because when we were up at the museum, it was right after Robbie had passed RIP. And they had the little exhibit about him.
That dude was so cool.
Yeah.
So I, of the generation that Robbie was my evil, and my dad was really partial to evil. So like we kind of bonded over that.
Right.
And then he was like, dude, when I went through the museum with Spanky, he was like, that's the shit. And he was like, oh, I always liked that big rig. I was like, well, your nerdy ass should drive up here. So you were telling me a little bit about that beforehand. So you go up there and you've got it on your helmet. And are you a little nervous or a lot nervous?
So I really didn't think about it too much because I'm more nervous of, dude, this is Evil Days. You're gonna do this stunt in front of everybody.
Right,
Badass.
Am I gonna actually do it or eat shit?
Are you gonna look like me?
Well, no, actually, what I was afraid of because I knew that I knew my stunt was kind of during the daylight. Doing Walls of Fire during the day can suck. Like, the flame won't look big. The wind can be blowing. It looks like you're just riding through bullshit. That happened at Downtown Air Park. I did 21 Walls down there.
Yeah.
What I learned is don't have a whole bunch of family that's like, oh, we don't want him to get hurt, so they sprinkle the gas. Like,
no, motherfucker.
No, motherfuckers, dump that shit on there.
Put the motherfuckers that want to see you burn.
You're wearing like Chris.
Like it'd be like if I was going to start Spanky setting up, I'd be like, we'll get fucked.
I love you. It's going to look great.
Smile for the camera, dickhead.
Exactly.
And then afterwards, it's like, oh shit, I may have used a little too much. But it looked really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually how me and Chris really got to hanging out. Was he was like, that was the weakest shit ever. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, the wind was blowing 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it was at 2 PM, and I spread them out a little farther than I thought because I thought it was going to be harder, and everybody like wanted to just barely pour gas. I'm like, no, motherfuckers, use all of it.
I'm just thinking about the t-shirt. I do all my own stunts. As you're wearing that, we're like, I'm all toasty. Why does it smell like burnt hair?
Why do you smell like burnt insulation and all this other crap?
You smell like a house fire.
Yeah.
I look like a house fire at the end of this too. Give me a couple beers, I'll feel real good.
So anyway, I'm up there and I'm more nervous about like just doing the actual stunt. Like, I'd already kind of... So I go, and I'm all excited. Do you want to stay at this hotel that's more closer to town with Travis and all his guys? Or do you want to stay at the old hotel that I'd always stayed at with Trigger? Which is where a lot of the guys that did stunt stayed. Okay. Because it had been there forever. Like,
right.
It's where Evil would put people when they came to town. So, or do you want to stay... we'll put you right across the hall from Spanky. Bam, that's what I want. Like,
not the Spanky.
Right.
No, Spanky Spangler.
Yeah.
So the OG Spanky.
Yeah, the real Spanky.
I mean, you know what? I'll take it if that's who I'm following.
That's a big shoes to fill.
So, like, nothing against Travis or any of those guys.
But it
like,
makes sense.
They're badass. Like, and I've known them forever. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna get a million more chances to hang out with them.
Yeah,
right.
Like
Absolutely.
Spanky Spangler. So I get down there and we know each other. We hung out. And I was like, hey, check out this helmet, man. And he's like, you gotta take that off. I'm like, well, it's cleared in. I can't take it off. And he's like, put some tape on it. I'm like, really? It's that big of a deal? He goes, oh, yeah, they'll sue your ass over that. I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
So I go back to my room, and I hear this knock on the door, and it's Spank. And I'm like, what's up, buddy? He goes, come on, we gotta go eat. Okay. Bring that helmet. Are you sure? He goes, bring it.
You're like, okay, I'm about to get jumped the fuck in on this.
No, so we go, and I sat right next to Robbie, and Kelly's across from me, and two sisters are there, and Kristen was at this one. The second one I did, she wasn't there. And a whole bunch of the Knievels are there, and we're like a day ahead of everything, because that's how all the performers always show up.
Right.
So we all go eat together. And as we're winding down, Spanky goes, he needs to show you this helmet. And I'm like, yeah, I want to show you my helmet.
You're like, oh.
No, I really did.
Okay,
and
cool.
it's because I told Kelly.
Here's my helmet.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it was a whole bunch of, Kelly, look, I didn't do this. My buddy did it. He didn't realize. He didn't mean any bad. So pull it out. I set it there. And Alicia, she's a little bit older than I am. Like, she's closer to our age than Kelly is. Kelly's like my dad's age. And she goes, Kelly, you've been around him. You've drank with him. You've seen it. You know he's going to do a stunt.
You embody everything about him.
And she goes,
the better parts.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen him flirt with the chicks, the whole 9 yards. Like, is this not Dad, a 4-foot version of Dad?
Not a 4-foot version of Dad.
It's funny because Robbie turns around and he goes, it works by me. Dude, Max Baker Jr. is just sitting there with his mouth open like, really? You just got away with this? And Kelly goes, all right, here's the deal. You can use the name on anything you want. Branding, whatever you want. But you make so much money off of it, you got to cut us a percent.
I mean, that's fair.
100%. He goes, I don't want no paperwork, shaking hand deal. But if you fuck up, I'm suing you. I'm like,
shit.
All right, cool, man. I'm game.
Yeah, you're like, I'm down to fuck with this.
So, like, after we get done, Max is like, come on, I got to run back to the room and do whatever. And I'm like, cool. I was like, I'll just go back to the room and I'll take the bus up and down and party. He's like, all the way back. He's like, do you realize what you just pulled off? And I'm like, that's just my... Do you realize what you just pulled off? You little son of a bitch.
You're like, yes.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware because about 2 hours ago
I'm having trouble walking because my balls are so big right now.
I was not aware 2 hours ago how fucking crazy that was. About an hour and 55 minutes ago, I'm aware how crazy that is. Yeah.
So it just kind of evolved from there, and now it's T-shirts and all this other stuff.
Yeah, dude. Because like, I told a couple of people you were going to come on, oh, shout out to Nate, number one listener. Thanks, guys.
Yep. What's up, Nate?
Yeah, what's up, Nate? But, I told a couple of people, and they're like, holy shit, dude. Like, he's the shit. And I was like, yeah, man. And I was like, I'm going to ask him to sign my art. And then I'm going to break this shit. So, like, I don't, obviously it's like Ashley Magician, the magic tricks. But, like, with the, when you do the wall of fire, because I was watching it, is it 2x4s? And do you let them, what do you use?
It's, soundproof board.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
So I was looking and I was like, God damn. I was like, how's his face not more fucked up like my face?
No, it's soundproofing board.
Yeah. So it's still got some rigidity to it.
It does. And then, so we actually soak it in gas now. A lot of guys just like to straight pour gas on it.
But soaking it in gas really gives that panache to it.
Well,
Panache.
Really gives it a good flame.
Well,
Welcome to the stage.
no, it's, also too, like, with Starbirds, we didn't want a bunch on the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes it super slippery, which if you're like out in the street doing it, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Finished
If it's
concrete.
on a finished concrete, it sucks. Like,
Right, dude.
Trying to clean that up and get it up.
Exactly, and not smoke the place out and all
Yeah.
that. So,
not smoking the place out, huh? Spanky.
The pictures turned out amazing. So
Really good.
Shut your hole.
but so that's kind of it's just fireproof board. Spanky Spangler taught me that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the very first one I did, I actually rode through it without it on fire because I got so amped up that I just took off.
You're like a kid at Christmas, fucking just lock this bike and go.
They go, we're gonna build you a practice run. They're like, I showed up with a motocross helmet, no head sock, no nothing.
Yeah, so
I'm here. This ain't hard.
okay, so I assume we're like Nomex, and like so you have that on, and you have your helmet. Do you have a leather suit that you wear, or
No, actually, the suit that's in that video is a Halloween suit off.
dude, polyester burns like none other. Dude.
Now you know why it has a bunch of holes in it.
If someone's a leather maker,
It's gonna melt in.
And it was like 10 years ago when I bought it. And 10 years ago, not only was I doing stunts, I was actively pit bike racing, like all over the place. So I was in a lot better shape than I am now.
Oh, well.
So like,
Tell me about it, yeah.
exactly. So
There's a reason why you're on the Chubby Boy podcast.
yeah, and that's all right by me. So like I wore it yesterday to this golf.
I saw,
And the dude's
I
like,
saw you getting dressed
are
up.
you gonna fit in that? And I'm like, I got it.
I got it. So we're
suck it in.
So we've been trying to schedule this shit for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I kept feeling like an asshole because I was like, I told Spanky yesterday, I was like, we got to make sure we get home from the eclipse in time to be able to do this podcast. And multiple people went, God, it is like you guys are married, aren't you? I was like, we're going on a great date. And I was like, we got to make sure. And I texted you at like, I don't know, 10 or 11. I was like, hey, man, we're running behind. I don't want to hold you up and all that stuff. And you're like, I'm fine. I'm at the golf course. I'm a little drunk. And I was like, perfect. Perfect. That was a little unnecessarily.
Yeah, like by this time yesterday, I was like, nah.
Yeah. Which
It would have ran off the rails hard and quick.
he would have been like, here's my rider. I need an Uber. I need 18 donkeys. Not to do anything with. I just want the donkeys around. I'm going to need an Uber back home. But I need a VIP limo for the whole thing. So, okay.
Hey, we need to get that 6-door dually as a Chubby Boy limo.
We saw,
yeah.
we saw on the way out of McKinney yesterday on the side of the road. There's a legit. It was a square body dually with 6 doors, so it's 3 on both sides. And
I haven't seen him before. I know
Yeah.
it's coming.
I was like, I want one real bad, and because I have, you'll see it in a little bit. I have my
that thing
C10.
had to be every bit of 30 feet long.
Yeah, because it was a long bed
It was a
dually.
long bed dually
with
with-
full 3 doors.
Oh, hell yeah.
Who in the fuck turned that? It's all parked up on a hill, and I was like, no one backs that thing up into anything. They just go straight. It's never been used for reverse. Yeah.
Hey, think of all the bitches you can fit in that.
I just, dude.
We're
Dude,
on.
so many bitches.
So I've had a lot of station wagons in my life because 4 doors, more girls.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I've always done
Is
that.
that how that goes?
4 doors, more whores.
There you
I was like, I don't know if the sheriff's out there. She's heard the joke. I was trying to be a little PC. Not really. But yeah, no, like, so, and then like, I bought my first wagon, and my dad was like, you know what you can do in the back of this? And I was like, what, Dad? And he goes, fuck bitches in this. And I was like, all right. You got real cool all of a sudden. I was like, you've always been kind of a nerd, but
Dude, that was the best part of driving my wagon to the high-low for a while. Like, I'd get pissed if somebody was parked in the handicap spot because that meant I had to walk farther.
oh, dude.
Yep.
You have not heard my handicap parking story, but I'll tell you later. Because I'm an advocate because I do civil engineering design. I've almost beat several people up. They're not handicapped. I'm like, you don't know what they need that space for. And now I have another rung of, you have no idea what they need that space for. There's a man over here or a woman that needs that space way worse. Because you got to couple them together over there. So,
Exactly.
So I got to ask.
Yeah.
What's Travis Spana like? What's he like?
What was it like doing the double flip?
How did that work?
The tandem flip, yeah.
How did you start that out? Did you hit him up on MySpace one day?
So, no.
Okay.
He's like, no.
Fuck it. He called me.
Story's a little long, but hang in there.
We got time.
I know. So, I had became real good friends with Sugar Gum,
Okay.
the long distance jumper.
Yeah.
He and I had been chopping it up and decided we wanted to do a tandem 100-foot or more jump. And we'd actually built pegs and everything.
Okay. You actually put science and engineering into
Yes.
welding drunkenly. Okay.
So, because I had met him right after I had done Monster Garage.
Yeah, I got questions about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he does this real big long jump, crashes. Matter of fact, somebody posted a meme with him crashing. It's like, all my buddies doing this, and it shows them getting married and having kids. It's like, this is me, and it's Sugar crashing his brains out.
He's getting a CTE.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Sugar. But anyway, I'd lost the pegs after that, but we'd always talked about doing it. Well, then Evel died.
Yeah.
And they decided to do the tribute to Evel in Stillwater.
Yeah.
At Guy Cooper's place.
Right.
So Trigger flies into town with Seth Enslow and a few other people, my buddy Rocky. I don't even remember who all was there, but they knew that I knew Oklahoma City and some of Stillwater really well.
Yeah.
So they stayed over off Western, over by whatever that strip club is. I don't even remember what it's called now.
Spanky, I'm looking at you.
Platinum room, trophy room. It's been like 15 things.
What was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn thing.
So anyway, they stayed over there
Yeah.
because if anybody wanted to go party, they could just walk right there.
Yeah. The one over off of 240?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's right by my house. So.
Playhouse.
No, it wasn't Playhouse.
Well,
It's over by the Hibachi Grill.
No. I know it was.
Was it Playhouse?
It was Playhouse.
I think it's Platinum Nights now.
It's Platinum Nights
now.
and it was something else.
Haven't been.
It was
like
trophy room.
Trophy room, and then it was Little Darlings for just a second,
brief moment.
and then they moved
Right.
over, and then it was at one time it was like something Playhouse, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's been
When it was Playhouse is when I got broke
It's
down in
been
front of it,
18 million
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So, I'm just took off work. This time I worked at Steve's Wholesale, so me taking off work was like, all right, I'll see you guys in about a week and a half. Bye. So, I just stayed in Trigger's room and we ran back and forth all
To
the
the strip
time.
club?
No, I mean up to Stillwater.
Oh, okay, back
to
to-
film.
okay.
We would go to the strip club some, but mostly that was all the other guys' deals. Like, So, I borrowed a pit bike, and the chick that owned Lost Energy Drinks
Okay.
that ended up owning Monster, her dad owned Monster,
Okay.
and she ended up with Monster. I can't remember her name.
We'd love you to be a fan of the podcast, though. Sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, she was super cool.
My sheetrock will hate you.
Yeah.
She was really good friends with Trigger's wife, so they flew out, and I kind of showed them around some. And she goes, well, if you're going to ride this pit bike, I heard you have a pinstripe suit. I'm like, yeah, I do. She goes, bring it tomorrow. I want to see a midget in a pinstripe suit ride a pit bike. You got to ride a wheelie.
How often do people demand shit like that? And you're like, I'll do it.
A lot.
He's like, have you seen me on the Lost Highway?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm riding around. Well, I had to go up top because there used to be this big step up. They had carved it out, and that's where Travis was doing double flips, and Jolene was trying to do her, chick to do first backflip.
Oh, yeah.
She's super cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I hung out with her a lot in Butte doing Evil Days. But so I ride up there to do something, get something to eat or whatever. And Travis is like, I didn't know you could ride a dirt bike that well. And I'm like, yeah, you remember, started telling him how long ago we had actually met in person.
Right.
And he's like, okay, I didn't know you were the same guy. And I was like, yeah, the same
How
guy.
many of us are there?
Well, it's more
he's
because
had a lot of head injuries. Let's give the guy.
Well,
Yeah.
we met very briefly in passing as kids.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah, there's a video called Moto Lab Rats that
Okay.
came out in probably mid 90s. Yeah, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
Like 94, 95. Maybe even earlier than that.
Yeah.
And James Stewart's on it, Travis Pastrana.
Really?
Mhm.
That's okay.
So, and they're like kids because they're my age, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So, my cousins raced. My dad and his brothers all raced.
Yeah.
And one cousin, like, almost went pro, but didn't. The other one did go pro. Like, one of them still rides today, still go to the track.
Yeah.
Love going to motocross track.
Yep.
I actually follow the only sport, not the only sport, the main sport that I follow is motocross.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he figures out, hey, okay, cool. Well, you obviously you got boots, like,
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
prepared.
and he's like, got a helmet? Yep. We'll bring it tomorrow. Let's do a backflip. All right,
Okay.
let's do a backflip.
Yeah. And you're like, fuck it. Why not? Send it,
So
bro.
on the way home, we're riding in the car, and Trigger's like, do you know what you just agreed to? And I'm like, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. You're like,
He's like, if you're going to do it with anybody, do it with him.
Yeah, I mean, no shit though, because he's been
Right.
because at that point when you were doing it, like he'd been doing it for a while.
Right.
Yeah,
So it rains its ass off and it's cold. that day.
Oklahoma.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it was like 70 and nice, but it was also like February.
Yeah. So one of those days.
Right.
So he goes, all right, I cleaned the mud off at the takeoff. I'm like, all right, get ready. I'm like, okay. So I did.
Really strongly stated. Okay.
So then I'm like thinking. And the whole deal with me pulling out my wallet in the video is I was like, dude, that could hit your hip and knock it out of place. Like
That's what you're telling him.
No, that's what I'm thinking in my head.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So like Knoxville's right there, and he's just the first person I could see, and I was like, "Hey, hold this." And afterwards, I'm like, "That might not have been the best idea." Oh well.
Yeah, because I mean, what year is this? I'm trying to remember.
Like
It was
mid-90s?
2008.
Knoxville's doing okay at that point. He might have put money back in it.
Well, either the day before or one of those days when they're doing the bicycle stuff.
Yeah.
We're actually standing on the land, like the big part of the landing for the motorcycle for Trigger, and we're watching them do this shorter landing with the bicycles. And so, this is a good one.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna make a bet. Everything in your front pocket is what you're betting. We're gonna guess how far this guy's gonna go on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Whoever wins, one and done, you get everything.
Right.
I pull out, it's like a couple bucks, a room key, some beer tab.
Betting your room key is a very dicey situation, Mr.
Bold
Sir.
move.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
all that I had in my pocket. Like
Yeah.
Pocket dump.
some shit that some wrenches or something that I had for messing with Trigger's bike. And here you go, man.
Yeah.
They're like, damn. I'm like, yeah, I'm a poor guy here. Trigger pulls out and he's got like the black card and a little wad of cash and
Yeah.
keys to his truck. And I'm like, I hope I win.
I hope so much I win. I've never been in a more particular situation where I hope I win so much more than I do right now.
And then Knoxville pulls out and it looks like Skittles. I'm like,
Skittles?
Damn. No, it ain't Skittles.
Oh, God.
It looks like Skittles. I'm like,
Looks like
I've
Skittles.
never
like
seen somebody carry that many different kinds of pills in his front pocket. That obviously he didn't go to Target and buy. I'm
He
like,
was like, hello, sir. I would like drugs.
like, which way do you want to go? Up, down, or sideways?
Yeah.
All of them.
And then he's
Like
got,
that's probably like $5,000 worth of
yeah.
pocket dust right there.
Yeah. That's on top of it, he's like, smell my pocket. Smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right. So Trigger won, and immediately he was like, put all your shit back in your pocket. And I was like, thank you.
Got it. And then asked me twice.
Johnny was like looking at him and he goes, just give me a few of them and we'll pick out some good ones and we'll set for the rest of the night. But so I end up doing the stunt,
Yeah.
It rains and they mark it off and all the stuff and do the stunt. Everybody's happy. Hell yeah. I actually got whiplash so bad that I couldn't see for like 15 minutes.
Okay, hold on. Just side note, because I've had some shit. I'm sure you've had too, Spanky.
Yeah.
I've never gone 15 minutes without being able to go like, this doesn't work right now. Vision's a lot. Did you fucking shit a brick?
No, at first I was worried. I didn't totally go blind.
You just were like, oh, now I can't see super well.
It was so... This is crazy, but anybody that's ever really rung their bell, like, I could see the line in your head that tells you up and down.
Yeah.
Everything to me that was up was blue. Everything that was down, I could see. So if I wanted to look at you, I had to look way above. Yeah, I was like this, like, hey man, what's up? Right. So Matt Hoffman was standing right next to us.
You start looking at him, you're like, hey big dog, I got a question about him.
You're looking
so
at
like,
the sky.
Him and Trigger notices it right off. And Matt's standing there and they're like, are you okay? Something like I was so amped that we made it didn't fall off and I wasn't dying. Yeah. But I was like, hell yeah, I did it the first midget ever. That's awesome. And then I'm like, hey, I thought this would only last about 5 seconds and it's been like, I know over when I say 15 minutes, I'm just gonna guess.
Oh yeah, well I mean
but I was
5
like,
seconds,
hey,
15 minutes, it's forever.
And I'm like, hey guys, I got a question. I'm like, I can't see up. And they're like, can't see up. And I'm like, to look at you, I got to look way over here. And Hoffman just starts rolling. Because I've met him a few times.
Yeah. He's rung his bell.
And he goes, come here, man. He goes, you're going to be fine. He goes, just chill out, take a deep breath, it'll come back.
Did he say it like this? You're going to be fine, though. It won't be fine. like Rocky.
Yeah. And I was like... Thanks. And then by the time I took my helmet off and got
get situated.
Yeah, I was all right. But then they were trying to show Knoxville how to jump, and well, we know how that ended up. He ended up OU Med Center.
Yeah. I've only in all my travels, I've only had one guy be like, Johnny Knoxville went to your hospital. I was like, he's been to all the hospitals. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The funny thing is I got all these people calling me like, Johnny Knoxville's in this. Yeah, I know. I sent him there.
Yeah.
I was like, go to that one.
He has a special name on the list because of me.
And then that was when Trigger and I did the 113-foot jump together.
Yeah, dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
So...
Well, okay. So we had a party both nights.
Right. Party boat?
Both.
Oh, okay.
2 nights. So I forgot the night before when we planned all this backflip. Guy Cooper threw a party at that big place they party in Stillwater. Tumbleweed.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Tumbleweed, I'm pretty sure.
So they had a pit bike race, and I actually did more of them later. But it was like a celebrity pit bike race, and I got to race with Guy and Travis. And
nice.
The Jackass guys, they kind of bailed, but all the Nitro Circuit, what would end up being Nitro Circuit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I got ran over.
Mike.
I did.
It's so nonchalant. I got ran over.
No, the bad part was I got ran over by my hero, Guy Cooper. But then I was like, I'm kind of cool. Guy Cooper ran over me.
Yeah, that's your clout.
You're like,
my hero.
I want to be mad, but...
No, but I also...
You're like, oh!
But I felt bad because I ran over Jolene. And go like she crashed right in front of me, and I'm like the first turn, and before because the floor was slick, before I could even try to shut it down, I was just like, sorry, my bad.
I mean, rubbing is racing.
I'll buy you a beer in a little bit. You're pretty hot. I don't want to hurt you. That was cool. Like we had a good time. And then I had my moto boots. I just got them. That's how Travis knew I had boots.
Yeah.
So like everybody's on dance floor dancing later, and I knew some chicks so I'm like dancing with these chicks in moto boots, and yeah, that's how you break them in.
I don't know if you know this. Yeah. Stillwater's kind of place that you can dance around in moto boots in a country and western bar, and they're gonna be like, yeah, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Stillwater gets down.
Yeah, they do.
They are not snooty like that town down south.
Exactly.
You know what's funny is I partied in both towns. And being the outsider that wasn't in college in either
I'll take Stilly any day.
You know, the good Dr. Nissa went there, and she's a little high strung on that stuff. But you know, back in college, she got down. So
yeah,
she was like, "Oh yeah, the tumbleweed's pretty good." I was like,
"Tumbleweed's fun."
Yeah, I was gonna drive out there.
I partied a lot in Stillwater. They're just like they don't even care. They're like, "Hey, come on, have a beer."
It's a fucking ag college.
Yeah,
it's a legit ag college.
I mean, I've had fun in both towns because I did. I've done. St. Patrick's Day stuff. Rubicon.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for like 20 plus years.
I don't think I've ever seen you do St. Patrick's ever in my life.
Yeah.
I have to be blind not to have seen that.
You know what was fucked up was the St. Patrick's Day. I was like, hey, where the fuck were you? Well, I was over here the entire time. I was a leprechaun. I was like, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
And then,
since about 2005, I was taking your picture every St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, get ready for it. I'll call 911 for you now because you might get a little creepy.
I'm like, you know the.
I worked for the Oklahoma. I was a photographer, so I would look at OKC. I used to shoot all the.
And we're back. All right, sorry about everybody. All right, sorry.
Technical difficulties.
No, Squirrel forgot the memory
I remember my first time.
hey, at least you weren't trying to photograph a once in a lifetime.
Oh fuck!
Total eclipse, and you forgot your SD card,
dude. All right, hold on. So, I have recurring nightmares about going to film certain things in my life, and like bringing the camera out and just shooting for fucking hours, and then like I don't know what I shot on. My camera didn't record any of that because I forgot the memory card.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Spanky, myself, and his wife and his stepdaughter drive down to the middle of nowhere, Texas, aka also McKinney, Texas,
to see the eclipse.
Yeah, dude, and it was fucking killer.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, dude, it was so fucking cool. And so we're down there, and I didn't bring my rig because I was like, I just want to see it. I'm not going to be able to get anything with my camera.
Right.
So his brother sends his camera with him, and he's like, it's a Nikon. You shoot Nikon, but you're shooting on this camera. I was like, got it. Cool. So I am snapping photos for like 15 minutes. We get my rig all set up. He's working on his. He looks at me and goes, fuck. And there's a bunch of fucks. I was like, what? And he goes, I forgot my SD card. He's like, I got to run over to this CVS over here. I got to do all this shit. And I was like, no, man. Like, hold on. And I turned the camera back off real fast, and there's 2 cards in there. And I was like, your brother has an SD card in this one, so don't fuck it up. I pulled it out and I gave it to Spanky, and I was like, all right, there you go, dude.
I was like, rookie mistake. Didn't help that I was yelling at them that morning because I'm like, we have to leave at 9. Yeah. And I really should have said we had to leave at 8 because then we would have left at 9.
Yeah.
Instead of
you don't know that old trick.
I mean,
I pull that trick on everybody.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna have to start pulling that one on my wife.
Because
love you.
Yeah, I was just laughing because I was like, where the fuck are you? Because like yesterday I was working. I got up early for once and was working for once.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the fuck are you? You're supposed to be here. This is after like the 18th cigarette of the morning. And I was like, they're going to be here. And he's like, I'll be there in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he finally like, I hear my garage door open. I'm on the patio smoking. And he's like, I'm here. I'm like, yep. You ready to go? Yeah. 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 And that was about the
I got up, got in the shower.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to go get you guys breakfast. And my wife's still laying in bed, like petting the dogs. And I'm like, yeah, we got some place to go. You need to get up.
I don't know if you know this. This is a time limit because it's going to have a time on it.
and now you know why me and girlfriends that don't have it.
Especially in your line of work too, because I feel like there's a lot of times where, like, it's because like we were texting back and forth last week because like now we're cool enough we text each other and you're like, I'm working on a set of AMRs for fucking what was it you're working on for a C10?
Yeah, well, it's for a truck that we built 25 years ago.
Oh, dude, I gotta see this shit because I love the old bills that are now being, I wouldn't say restomodded or restored, but revamped.
Yeah.
So the whole reason that we're putting this chassis on is getting a roaster shop chassis.
Shout out to Roaster Shop. Shout out to the Oil Whiskey Podcast. Shout out to the boys. Also, shout out to the best Miata owner ever, Phil. I'm gonna tag you in this shit. He's like, what?
Those guys are pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I've hung out with them here and there. and it's so awesome that like they're guys that run the truck. And well, Brian that drives the truck, super cool. He's been to the shop a couple times, but then like the other guys that just come in and out, that work the shows, they're like, "Oh, we heard you were gonna be here. You want a Miller Lite?" Like, yes, I do.
So, customary for everyone that comes on the show, I always go, "What beer or liquor would you like?" And then, what shirt do you want? And then you were like, Miller Lite. And I was like, fucking easy. You know what was really fucking difficult? I had to send my wife to go get Miller Lite because I couldn't fucking find it on Q or in the 7-Elevens I went to. They were all out. And I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, I got it. Yeah. She had this shit for like 2 weeks. She's like, I have it bookmarked and earmarked for my cook. So don't let anybody touch that shit. She's like, when he gets here. So, but yeah, I feel like that's a lot of your professional life comes into, I'm going to have to pull a crazy work day on this because like.
Well, so like on the 59 that you guys, like just everything that's going on with that, how many hours?
So
do you have
how many hundreds of hours
on
in that?
My end of it, it has slowed down a lot when it gets to that point of it's crunch time.
Right.
Yeah, I still stick around and I'll do this or that, but I'm not really as involved in it. I'm more, once the parts stores close and I know I can't go do anything else, I just leave because there's no reason to be being
right.
Yeah,
right,
just
right.
added stress, let them do whatever.
And for the listeners that don't know, you guys did it's kind of a resto mod, but not. You still kept the old lines and everything of a 1959 Impala, and you guys won the.
So the whole thing with Steve Cook Creations, my dad, is we build cars that when you look at it, you still say, "Hey, that's a 59 Impala.
Yeah,
that's a 56 Ford.
Absolutely.
That's a 63 Galaxy." So there are styling cues changed on that car. A lot of them come from 59 Cadillac.
So is that your? Because I've kind of found this in the custom hot rod world where it's. I like this, and I'm going to build off of that a lot. Is that where you and your dad and the designers pull off of? Is the Cadillacs of that era, or
no, so this was just of, it's not really that it's totally. It's because Cadillac was the car in '59, especially for GM. So, like, the trim got a little bit bigger at the end of the fins and came down.
Okay.
On a 59 Impala, it was the same.
All the way through. Okay.
So, we made it graduate bigger.
Okay.
One of the fender lines, the body line in the fender that normally would stop to the fender, we brought it into the door.
Yeah.
Once we did it, we realized, oh, yeah, the Cadillac does that too. That's why.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite things.
It was kind of funny. My dad was kind of telling the owner, and the owner's like, okay, I think so. Rick Knight just happened to bop through and starts laying it out with tape and running all around. And after it's said and done, he leaves, and the owner's like, yeah, we need to do that. And I'm like,
you're like, yeah, what we told you to do.
Dad, you were just sitting over here talking to him like, you got to be more rambunctious like Rick. And he's like, I don't do that. And I'm like, I know, dude. I'm just messing with you.
Your dad's like over there self-control.
So, yeah, my dad raced and stuff. So he still takes car building like he's racing. It's a very methodical thing.
Right.
Yeah.
He gets up early, does what he does. Like, it's a whole process. Where me, I'm sorry. Well, whatever. Here we go.
Well, for the listeners that don't know, he won the Slonaker Award,
the Al Slonaker Memorial Award at the Grandmaster Roadster Show.
59 Impala, and it is
Impala bespoke.
Amazing. It's
bespoke
beautiful.
Is not putting it. It's not putting it lightly, and it's not putting it fully enough.
Yeah.
Because
so,
having seen it in photos,
do you know what bespoke means?
You built the motherfucker. Yeah. Like you guys were like that. We like this, and we're gonna do this with it.
So there was a bunch of names being thrown around.
Okay.
And yeah, it was not taking the best turn, but it was coming around. And Alan Childers, that works for my dad, does a lot of he does all the body work.
Yeah.
Right.
Helps paint, helps do some of the fabrication. He does all these hand drawings. That's how a lot of the owners see is he'll just go and break room and he'll sketch something out.
So that's who does your renderings for you guys?
Dude, he is a total badass.
All right. I was wondering who did your renderings for you guys. Okay.
Look up Alan Childers' art on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does engraving, like lowrider type engraving.
Which
He
is
taught
fucking-
himself.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
He does Sharpie art that's super cool. He's designed logos for my dad, me, all kinds of people.
Duly noted for the next Chubby Boy Magic.
Yeah,
There we go.
like,
There we
we
go.
go.
We got a guy.
super cool. So he is just looking at old books because he likes to read old magazines and stuff. We all do. We all kind of sit around sometimes, and I have these real old, like early 50s brass era car,
Yeah.
which was carriage books.
Right.
And they have my great grandpa in them, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
But if you read the articles, it's like, who in the fuck wrote this? Like, they talked a lot different then than they do now.
They're like, oh boy, George.
Yeah.
The newspaper's
Yeah.
gonna go gee gog ollie on
Yeah,
this.
it's hilarious. And then like some of the ads and just some of the articles, it's like how to make period correct stuff. Like, wow.
You're gonna take a piece of brass and you're gonna hammer it over a horse's shoe. And you're gonna have to do
No,
it.
they even have articles of how to make like 1910 clothes for the women so they can look like the era of the car.
Right.
Like kind of like how rockabilly chicks do that.
Get it.
Except
Right.
they're like explaining how to actually make these dresses. And it's in this car book.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool though.
Yeah.
It's so funny to think. Thank you. The sheriff brought me some ice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, honey. No, I wanted to make sure the
But-
backpack cooler was full of
So
ice.
like
It's
he's
cold.
reading these books and Rose Lace talks about having a bespoke car.
Yeah.
So Alan's like, what is it? So we get to looking, and all it means is customized.
Yeah,
If you
it's-
look it up, it just says in America it's customized. But that would look
Yeah.
dumb, just customized. Like,
Well, I mean,
but bespoke makes it sound cool. So then we played
It's
around
fancy.
with exactly.
it's one off and it's real fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we messed around with on the tag that my buddy Ricky made for us. He changed it up where it has numbers for some of the letters.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
People like us get it. Some people are like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
I think that's one of those things too, is like you get into customization of cars and stuff, and that's like you'll put a lot of time and effort in something, and everyone's like, I don't understand why you did that.
Exactly.
It's because it needed to do this because of this, or
Right,
it looks
right.
cooler because I did this to it. And I love that thought process. Like we talked about Chip Foose over at Fort Thunder's bike show the other day.
Yeah.
Where it was like, Chip really took that idea of this is what the designer of that car originally, when he put the pen to paper, he wanted to look like.
Right.
Right.
And you guys are building that reality. It's
That's a whole lot of it.
yeah. And it's not necessarily
and
it's not Chip Foose necessarily that you're pulling from.
But you
You're doing,
see it now. Design is gone in
I don't know what we're
modern-
talking about. I think the Dodge Dart looks amazing.
Well, not
the how about the Dodge Neon?
no, so
The design, to me, the design aspect is gone of the modern era. They all look the same. They're all one body
Yeah,
style.
but if you think about DeSoto's and the 52 Ford and a lot of those,
okay,
people,
but that's not of the modern era. I'm
Yeah,
talking about 2000 and up. Everything.
Yeah,
you've
for
got-
sure.
They've lost the
well, it's because they have to make so many different parts, to
right.
match so many different cars.
Right.
yeah,
But I didn't get to do this trip, but my dad has, and Alan, and they got to go and visit some Ford designers, and they were working on the Bronco before it came out.
oh, that's cool
Right.
as fuck.
So some of the first Broncos that you ever saw in pictures, they were real cars.
Yeah.
Right.
And these guys got rat thinking on it. My dad can tell the story way better than me because I just heard it from him.
Yeah,
But it's all the same thing. It's just taking, it's kind of like if you look at the Ford Futura,
Yeah.
which ended up being the Batmobile.
yeah,
If you look at that car and dissect it into a whole bunch of little pieces, you will see that all throughout Ford, Lincoln, Mercury cars.
yeah,
They took little pieces of it and used it somewhere else.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of, it seems like that. But if you really got to see where they started compared to where they ended up,
yeah. Well, and mass production is always going to take the key of how do we make this bumper or this bumperette or whatever it's going to fit. Like, you know, this,
right.
Because
and then, you know, like factory cars, especially in the 60s, they kind of set high because grandma's going to drive it. You don't want to run it over the parking block. But you know, when that car was designed,
it was real low.
And it
looked like a spaceship coming down the road.
You know, the bumper's probably tucked a little tighter, but you got to move it out now because it needs to take some impact without just tearing
it's not a one-time use car.
Right.
As opposed to a design or a show car for them.
Right.
And like,
if you take the Ford Galaxy that we built.
Yeah.
That was a fun build for me.
Yeah. That thing's big
because it, you know, there's body-wise, it's stock. There's not one thing done to the actual body. Just tighten up all the gaps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the trim is actually chromed on that. It's factory trim chromed.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yep. All the interior is done in leather. All the little medallions and BS stuff in the interior is all machined aluminum chromed.
That's cool.
Wow.
The gauges are mercury, the Dakota digital gauges, but the pod deal is from mercury because everybody said, oh, that was a thing to do. It bolts right in. Well, kind of.
Like bolts right in is a famous last word.
Yeah, it'll set in there, but there's gaps everywhere. We made it would actually fit. And then if you notice in the back seat, it's got a dip. Well, that car didn't have anything there. It was just blank from the factory. So I ran up to the Ford store and was like, hey, I want to look at all this stuff, and kind of went through their catalog. And I was like, that looks cool. And it was the front fender emblem on a 63 station wagon. Okay. Is what we used in the center of that back seat.
Yeah.
So it goes along with the whole thing, but who would have ever thought you stick that there?
Well, and I love that part too. It's like, you know, I've done this with a lot of my cars where it's like, I have all these parts laying around. Yeah. This is what I have from all this different shit.
Right.
But this is cool. I'm going to put this over here. Not cool. I'm going to put it over there.
And then, like the engine is a 498 aluminum block, aluminum head FE, which they never made.
Yeah. Right. You guys did, but.
Well, somebody did.
Somebody.
So, it's got like 600 horse and all this. And then it's got.
Sounds,
it's badass.
Yeah.
It's got a 6-speed Tremec in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's got all the little cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then Bruce, the owner, came up with, he's big into coming up with rare ass intakes. Like,
that's his fucking jam.
His jam is, I'm going to find some weird thing about an engine. We're going to build a car around it.
And you're like, sure.
We're like the first car we ever built for him, 55 Chevrolet. It has a Hilburn intake on a big block, but it was the first one of, if not the first or one of, fuel injected Hilburns. So at first it didn't work very good because
they ran like shit. It's open or close.
Well, it was more, the computer wasn't super tunable.
Yeah.
Not like now.
Not where you can dial in.
In 2000, there were a bunch of dudes leaning on the top of their car like street outlaws. Oh, I got to set the tune. No, everything was still do it on a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Right.
You were having to go in there with, precision.
Exactly.
And the other thing is too, is about one of those is like, you may have a lope or a dull spot and, 3/4 throttle, but like everything else is okay and full throttle is fine. But like, you're just going to have this little spot that maybe it's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It runs great now because 20 years later, put a Holly
Holly Terminator on it.
Yeah. So
you're like, it works really good now.
Yeah, the whole system works great now.
Yeah.
And like the Galaxy, it has an intake that's got 6 deuces on it.
Oh my god.
So it's basically 6 throttle bodies, and then just knowing how to tune all that together.
Well, and then synchronizing all that shit together and like making it drivability.
Well, what's pretty cool is you would think that like a lot of our owners just checkbook riders.
Yeah.
No big deal. No. That's
So
not
I was
really
wondering
how
that
works.
too. So we were just having this conversation with a couple of our other buddies about another podcast from motorcycling where it was they were talking about don't gatekeep and don't because here's the deal. is if I won the lottery and I had a bunch of money, I'd be like, hey, you, Steve, and Mike, come and build me a car.
Yeah.
And I'd probably go, here's the budget I have, and it's this. What's something that is in that budget that I can't think of that you guys want to build? And there's no reason why I got the money to be able to build it, but and I want to drive it too at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's
that's kind of like the first year that all the cars come out. They're drivable.
Yeah.
But you drive them some.
You drive them off the trailer, drive them around the car show.
Hey, you drive them back on the trailer.
Drive them back on the trailer.
Plus, too, you got to realize they settle.
Yeah,
so then
that's
you're
true.
Fighting spring rates, raising it back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks cool hammer, but you can't do anything with it.
You're like, I can't fucking try this thing in my driveway.
Yeah, so you're kind of moving stuff around, and it's a trial and error, till eventually it's like, okay, just because it's setting at Grand National Roadster Show, that doesn't mean it's going to be fine down the highway tomorrow.
Well, this is true too, because I've wondered that, because growing up watching all the television shows, they'd flap that thing together and they'd be like, oh, it's gone off to Detroit or it's gone off to SEMA, and it's like that thing's never heard from again. But personally,
because it's in a museum somewhere.
So how many?
I mean, yeah, like you said, try to make it a daily driver. You're not gonna.
Well, and it's also like, how often are you gonna try to drive that thing across the country? But how many times?
I would try all of them.
Well, yeah, because because you're crazy. Exactly. Backfoot with Travis Bazzana. I don't know how to make this more clear, but you're a little crazy. So how often do you guys get a car, quote unquote, complete, send it out to the owner, and then so many months later it comes back in because it's settled? Or do you do a lot of that for them and then finally send it out so much time later?
That's exactly how it works.
Okay.
It's more for the first, I'm going to say, year, as year being show season.
Okay, so that's what you're doing with it?
It's that's why everybody's, wow, so is it back at the shop? Yeah, it lives at the shop. It doesn't live anywhere else yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't know a different home yet than the shop.
Okay, fair. All right.
And then, so once it's made the rounds of what it needs to do, that whole time you're working on it a little bit, but you're still working on, it's kind of hard because there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
And obviously we see what I did yesterday was not go to actual work. So I'm always going doing whatever, but I did some work yesterday. It just wasn't at the shop, but
I put some work in.
I answered an email.
I answered an email. That's one.
It's write off for the whole day.
Yeah. Is it billable?
Yeah, and then I shared EWOD's Instagram post about the steering wheel that they made going off for us.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's pretty sweet.
That was very sweet.
Fucking sweet as shit.
So Alan drew all that and kind of put it into layers of how it needed to be, and then we sent them a few dimensions, and they came up with that.
Isn't that crazy that you can give someone probably 3 or 4 dimensions of something, and they're like, "Got it." And you're like, "Oh fuck, okay."
Yeah,
you're like, "All right, wizard, go fucking do your shit. Call me when you're done with the mountain."
Well, I've been trying to tell my dad that I've been in some other shops, and they have 1 or 2 guys that's all they do is figure out a way to put this into a machine to get it made.
Yeah.
And that's something so I do AutoCAD drafting design for a living. And then somebody will go, unfuck this for me. I'm like, okay. And then I spend hours.
Yeah.
Spanky's heard about it. I'm like, I don't know how to fucking make this work. Because I don't
You're
have
getting paid.
Yeah. I'm paying myself by hour. And it's and that's something that's really cool. I'm sure you've seen a lot of change in the industry over the years. You've been in it, is physically, Joe Bob, not saying it's really Joe Bob, but Joe Bob's over there going, oh, well, this is how it fucking works.
The thing that amazes me is from, 35, 40 years ago where, I grew up with the shit boxes. I had the $300 Volkswagen that I pulled out of a barn in Meeker. It built it, sold it, bought another one, built it, sold it, bought another one. And, just rebuilt them up. The ability to fab parts today is infinitely easier. Plus, probably knowing a little bit more people, but you see so much more people instead of trying to figure out, okay, what part can I build or what can I make work to make that work. People just go and like, oh, I need that. Let me mill that out, or let me
Yeah,
weld that up, and that part of it is like that to me. I'm still amazed by that skill. The actual old school fabbing.
We do a lot of old school fab at Dad's because that's just, that's how we do it. That's how we know how to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have people that help. Charles Collier, he's helped us in machining some stuff. My buddy Dewey, he does a lot of manual machining stuff for us. Like, I'll go over to him. Dude, this shop's cool. It's like going in a time warp.
That's like my dad's shop.
Yeah, it's like old school. Looks like he just rode his horse into town.
Yeah.
It's like the dude's like 85 years old.
He's like, get off my lawn.
Yeah, no, up until just recently, like, he was riding a motorcycle to work. He'd be like, hey, I live up by Shawnee. It only takes me like 10 minutes to get to work. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, did your dad tell you I locked up this bearing on the back wheel? I'm like, no, what happened? Wait. He goes, I'm glad it didn't happen going down 240 up by Tinker. And I'm like, why? He goes, I was going about 140. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're like 84 years old.
He's going, like, the Lord won't take me.
And he's like, yeah, I got right here by the shop and it locked up. And I didn't fall, I kept it up. I'm like, wow, dude, that's damn.
You're like, I hope my balls are as big as yours. I'm gonna be shriveled by the time.
And then
Jesus, take me.
You go into a shop and it's just got machines lined everywhere, and then like all these like elk heads and all this.
Oh wow,
stuff. Yeah. And then he's got this drill bit that he told me how big it was, but it's like damn near a whole foot round. Like, it's like this big. He goes, I don't have anything that will actually. I can't use this, but it's cool to look at it.
Yeah,
like, it is cool to look at.
He's even got a train horn.
Damn!
There was
like, you're not supposed to own train horns, but he's got one tucked back. So every once in a while, I'm like, hey,
fire up the train horn.
Let me can I have that train horn? He's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, that's a federal offense, sir. I'm taking that one to the grave. Someone stole. We have a local train museum on the east side of Oklahoma City, and someone stole one of the train horns off the train. And they're like, "We need this back." And I was like, "You're never getting that fucking thing back."
Off 36th and Grand.
Yeah, they have multiple engines over there. Just saying, you get a couple train horns. We could help you. Allegedly.
I did we did kind of fire up the air compressor one day and just let her rip, and then it's like. No wonder your neighbors hate you.
Yeah, holy fuck, that's loud.
So actually, funny story about that, and you giving me this shirt.
Uh-huh.
It's in Nix's little complex off 36th and
oh really?
I-35. Yeah.
Okay, so he's in the yellow buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he helps manage all that
stuff. So I love how infinitely large and small Oklahoma is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because when you were on the second, third, first part of the list, I was like, man, I really love to have Mike on. And you're like, and Spanky looks at me, he goes, the day that we have Mike on is the day that we made it. So we have made it today. Like, legit. Like 6 months ago, this motherfucker said, well, if we get him on, we made it. I was like, I mean, we did, but like,
you don't understand. It was like, should I ask him? Should I not ask him?
Oh my God.
And I was like, yes, just, what's he going to say? The most he can say is no. And he's like, okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask him. And I'm like, yeah, ask him.
I played it off really good, but I was real nervous. My palms are very sweaty.
Man.
But
I love doing stuff like this.
Well, and now we've about had another fucking spinoff of this series.
And it's what's funny is big as I'm not gonna say the scene, but people, Oklahoma City is the people in it. It's very small.
Right. Yeah.
And it's funny because we all know
it took everybody. One fucking person to get back to you. And then 4 other people I know very well. We're like, also like, I know Mike really well.
Right. Well, and it's all the same people who are doing all the big things.
Right.
And it's kind of cool because nobody is really a dick.
I mean, there are
certain ones, but for the most part, everybody is.
I know I can be one because I've seen people be like, "Wow," but it's one of those like, caught me at the wrong time.
Yeah,
just trying to. because I still work and do stuff for my dad. Sometimes we're on crunch time. So I don't know, just because somebody sees me at 7-Eleven, hey, man, what's the one? Hey, I'm in a hurry.
Yeah,
yes, it's Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday at 10 in the morning. That doesn't mean I'm just hanging out.
It's very respectful. Because it's like, to finish my point about this was that, so we started talking about Jimmy Nicks.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, oh, yeah, because you started talking about old school hot rodders. And I was like, oh, my dad was a machinist for Jimmy. And then so you would start talking about how you know him super well, which is very rare for me because most people now don't really know who he was.
So I never actually met the man at all. I just know all about him because my grandpa, they either went to high school together or something.
Yeah, and I asked my dad later, and he's like, I don't know for sure. Like, he's gonna look it up. He's gonna ask around.
Yeah, like I know that they were pretty tight because I have a Jimmy Nicks hat in the office.
Yeah, and now you have a cool shirt.
Now I got a shirt.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get you another one.
You know what the cool thing is? Dad stole the hat and made it stitch shop. He don't fit this shirt. I do.
Dad's like,
but Dad told me he remembers going over to Nix's place.
Yeah.
And, like Art Alphonse coming by and blowing
fuck,
up.
I haven't heard Art's name in fucking
Yeah.
Welcome to my childhood. This is literally like, so my dad, like when I was growing up, he was like, so we have a drag slick in the studio, which is from one of Jimmy's front motor cars.
Oh, okay.
And that's what this is from. And because I was looking for a coffee table, and I was like, we have a really cool one to use. But like, it was really cool to think about how widely renowned he was as a drag racer. Because I was talking to Don Gartless years ago. And he was like, oh, yeah, I know exactly who he was. And I kind of remember your dad a little bit because of the crew. And then, but you guys are always so cool. And it's one of the nice things is like all the Oklahomies, like we're talking about.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they're buddies from Ponca City, Woodward, Lawton.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're all pretty much homies in the state. And it's way easier to navigate. But
Well, it's a lot to do with once you get to like what Jimmy was doing.
Yeah.
What my dad's doing.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people in this area doing that.
No.
Yeah.
So, there's a few guys trying and whatever. And, more power to them if they get there. But it's kind of one of those deals because Dad and I were talking the other day. And, you get all built up and you've done this great thing. And you get home and then it's like, well, fuck.
Who are your peers?
Well, it's kind of you like go eat lunch and nobody has a clue what you just did.
Yeah.
Not one person.
Yeah.
And stunt work was always that way. They're like, oh, that looks cool. Like, I could have died. You don't even realize that. But okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad the video looks cool.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things that's really hard too.
Two, like what nobody realizes is you go, everybody's life is up and down like this.
Yeah.
Well, when you start pushing it to where that high is higher and higher, and higher, it's no different than drinking, doing drugs, whatever.
Yep.
You start pushing it.
Yep.
The downfall of that is you get home and you're like, I don't want to mess with this ever again. You're like, wait, yeah, I do. I really like it. But, or just certain people, like Len Wagner came up to me, the DJ guy, and he's like, do I introduce you as like, the Slonaker winner and all that? And I'm like, talk about how to really confuse people.
Yeah,
and he started acting
right,
shit.
right.
Like, yeah, you're right. But it's just one of those deals,
Well, and it's something that's a point of pride because like Spanky and I have both won awards and done a lot of cool stuff, just like yourself. And it's like, man, I'm a fucking dude.
Yeah.
I'm a dude disguised as another dude playing another dude.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's like with the whole, what started the whole Chubby Boy Magic was just us going and doing shit. And like I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. It was like, hey, let's go do this because it looks fun or it looks cool.
Yeah.
And there were times when we were hanging out and we'd go drive around old neighborhoods looking at cars. And it's like, oh, look at that C5. Oh, or the, C10. It'd be like, holy shit, I haven't seen that one before, And then the guy over here that had the, what's his name? That had the GTO.
Oh, it's one of my neighbors. It's Robbie.
No,
that's not Robbie.
No, it was a weird name.
Yeah, it's a super weird name. So I had been going past it. So what I would refer to it affectionately as was mopping Adventure Times. So we would literally go run an errand over by like your shop or somewhere, and I'm like, and then like we're gonna take like 2 hours to get over there. Yeah. Because we'd go fucking parade through the city. I was like, I want to go see this 55 3 windows over there still. right. I'm not going to buy it, but I want to go look. And I'm like on the way over, like, oh, there's a 68 Skylark over there. That would fit my car. And then So
I guess you need to ride around with Brian Dunning a lot because that's exactly why. He's like, hey, I'll just meet you over there. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to go.
Yeah. Well, and like, man, it's just so fun because Oklahoma City, like, you know, we don't have as many of the historic and classic cars as we used to, I feel like, from when I was a kid. Because, like, you're seeing them put away a lot more as opposed to when I was in California where they're out.
Right.
My buddy that lives in Long Beach, I walked around his neighborhood one morning. I woke up early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just walked around and I was like, holy fuck.
Everything's just sitting out there. Like,
I was like,
Right.
Well, when I've watched some of these car shows and they're based out that way, they're like,
we found a 55 Cadillac over there. You're like, how? And
if you go there, you will see it.
Right.
It sounds so stupid to us. And then you get out there and like, God damn it. And then so my neighbor has a Le Mans, and then I can't remember. He had a Le Mans and something else out in the driveway. And I kept going like, man, I gotta go over there. And like we rolled by one day and he just happened to be out in the driveway. I was like, hey, I'm your neighbor. And he goes, hello, how are you?
Yeah,
super nice guy. And then we started chatting about it. And he's a little further north. And I was like, do you know my buddy that lives around the corner, Chris? He goes, I have no idea who you guys are. I have no idea who that is or who that is or who you are. And so he's into Harleys, he's into cars, and like every so often I'll see him, and you know, but that's just one of our favorite things to do. But
Kirby.
It's Kirby.
It's Kirby. I was
vacuums.
Like, dude, I've been sitting here thinking like, what was his name?
And but like it's funny because he has the exact same bike in 2 different colors now. Because I was like, he has a Road Glide ST and he has a Road Glide. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, but one of the things I really love about Oklahoma City for us is how approachable most of the time we are.
Yeah.
Because like when I was like, man, should I message him or not? And I was like, I don't want to bother him because I'm like, you're fucking internationally known. People I know not here were like, oh shit, you know him. I was like, kind of.
There you go.
I met him once in a bar. I might have been hammered, but.
Well, so I did a podcast with Rana's Radar. Rana's cool. And she's from Australia, lives in Tennessee now.
Okay.
She's into cars.
Yeah.
Whatever. Super cool chick. So we get to talking, and she wanted to come by the shop. Well, she does these video podcast deals.
Okay.
And I said, well, everything that's at the shop right now kind of sort of under wraps. We only got about 2 cars. We could show you. I know you want to do a deal with the Impala, but it'll be here.
It doesn't quite work.
Right.
So she's like, okay, I understand. And then she's like, wait, is this like Mike Cook, like this Mike Cook? And I'm like, yeah.
Is she not? Was this on air?
No. This was just,
I was like, holy shit.
This was us texting through because she texted my dad's Instagram, which comes to my phone.
Yeah.
My dad never sees it.
Yeah. You're like, LOL. ASL.
I actually figured out how to change like the automatic response.
Yeah.
So now it just says, Mike will get a hold of you as soon as you can.
Okay.
Right.
Because sometimes I don't see it for a few days because I don't always check it.
You're fucking busy.
Instagram.
You're a busy man, dude.
Well, I'm just lazy too.
Busy man. That's a busy man right there. He's busy being lazy.
So that and I just get bored of the endless of, hey, I got this car, can I get it fixed? Well, that's not how it works, dude.
Yeah, we don't just do that.
Yeah. And I'm not, it's awesome that people hit us up for that.
Yeah.
But it's like having to explain almost every day. We only pretty much do big builds. Like we don't. There's 3 of us, and we're building Slonaker one. It's like
we're not building, We're not working on your Ultima energy.
It's just people like, hey, can you do an LS swap? No, like
I mean, you can, but like
we're not going
to.
So, or
you're gonna go to Pierce around the corner,
or like I broke my panhard bar, can you fix it? Yeah, but I really don't have time. I got to put a chassis under this. I got to do this. I got 3 weeks to do this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those deals. But she goes, you were on the tribute to Evel Knievel, the Jackass tribute. Evel Knievel? I said, yeah. She goes, everybody in Australia knows who you are.
You're a fucking you're not a local, a national treasure.
A worldwide.
About the time I met...
That's all of Australia clapping right now.
Yeah.
And, well, when I met Mad Mike Jones and got to hanging out with him and doing a bunch of stuff with him, like I got to go to Steel City 2 or 3 years and work the race. Like get it.
That's cool.
Wow.
Get all the ground set up.
Right.
So that they could have places to park and all that.
Do all the shit.
Mow the grass. And it's all the dumb stuff that the whole time you're doing it, you're like, this motherfucker sucks riding this quad, catching grass all day, and it's hot, and damn it. And then they're like, okay, you're done. You get to watch the race for free, go anywhere you want. You're like walking the track with Dungy and Kennard and all these people.
You're like, this is awesome.
This is shit. Yeah.
You're waking up at Jonesy's house, and he's like, hey, come downstairs and get some coffee. And I'm like, all right. Well, it just so happens the little side driveway that goes to the track is literally part of his front yard. So you're like sitting there watching all the, at that time, Geico, Honda, and Suzuki trailers, and they're all pulling like from here to the street, and you're just drinking coffee, waving at the truck drivers and stuff.
Hey. Yeah. And it's one of those deals that I don't think enough people realize is like what that little, I say a little bit, but a lot of work goes into the back end of, like, I was doing this grunt work yesterday, but I get to go over here and watch all the cool shit roll in this morning as I have coffee.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was getting paid for it, so that part was cool.
It's nice, but you're like, also...
Well, then when your check comes from Racer X and all this stuff, and then that's all the little residuals, it's like, okay, I want to do this again. And that's why I signed up for it multiple years. And then I got to stay at Mike's house for like 3 weeks. So
fuck yeah.
It was awesome.
Wow,
yeah. So, I mean...
And at that time, like, he was training people and still doing some stunt freestyle shows and stuff like that. So we would just go do random stuff. We'd have to go over and get parts for his jump bike and sit out in his garage and work on them, and it was cool.
Dude, your lifestyle show would be fucking ridiculous. Because everyone's going to be like, there's no way.
So how often are you still riding and practicing, doing stunts and all?
I'll be back.
None? Zero.
Really? You're not riding at all?
I haven't ridden at 50 since I rode it up to the Evel Knievel booth at Starburst. I loaded it in the truck to go.
Right.
My brother took off on an adventure with it the other day, and I about killed him, but he brought it back. So, but yeah, I didn't. I just, man, one, that bike's pretty small.
Right.
Honda 50's not very big, and I'm not 30.
Right.
You know, I'm 42.
Right.
My joints just ain't hanging in there.
What they trust me,
So,
I understand that.
I'm thinking about if we do this deal, I'm gonna get a 110 and just make it look like that bike, which wouldn't be hard at all.
Right.
And just go from there. Like, I'd love to ride like I used to. I can't do it. Like, I just, the amount, people don't realize how hard that is. Like,
absolutely,
motocross to me is probably the hardest sport.
Oh yeah.
I mean, soccer is supposed to be the most enduring, whatever, but they even stop in soccer. Motocross, you don't stop till it's over. Like, you go.
Yeah. And the injuries are
exactly. And I have, like, my knees pop out. I don't have hip sockets. I don't have, like, the
You don't
ball
have hip
part.
sockets?
Well, it's funny because
I have, like, the ball part.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the part that goes, like, around it.
Oh, God, I just thought about it and I was like,
well,
so when I did the long distance jump with Trigger, my back actually collapsed a little bit and I broke my tailbone. And, like, I've been
that's rough.
And I've been about an inch shorter ever since.
you know, everyone told me you were about an inch shorter than what you said. You know, I'm like, I mean, like, it's kind of hard to know. I'm just trying to think about now the hip joint thing is all in my head.
You know, when I was 8, the top 2 vertebrae in my neck, they fused together and I had a halo for 3 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
I had a tracheotomy when I was born. I've had 3 foot surgeries because I had club feet, and then one of them started tightening up, and I was basically walking on my toes, so they loosened it. Well, it got too loose, so they added bone on the outside to try to straighten it, and really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I had so many ear surgeries that left, or tubes in my ears that left a hole. So to fix the hole, they took muscle out of my head and put it in my ear. Which anytime you have eardrum surgery, you get super ass dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to prove that I didn't have to take the little pills they shove up your ass, I still have both bottles. It's never been opened. Like, fuck that. I held my breath.
Yeah. Like,
when you're 16, no, I ain't doing that.
you're like, I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
So then eventually, like, the surgeon I had, I broke my arm on a GoPed. Instead of studying for college course.
I mean, haven't we all been there?
Well, yeah. I was over at my cousin's house, and the chick down the street showed up, and next thing you know,
business, man.
I'm laid out in the street with my wrist up here, and so I just punched it back into place, then realized that I had cracked this bone and had to go to the... Yeah. So this one moves this far, this one moves that far. Like, yeah.
So you've
and it's got a big lump that never went away.
Yeah, I remember one time I was hanging out with someone at a bar, and you had been in there, and I hadn't gotten to say hi, and kind of gotten out probably before the paparazzi got there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like all this shit's wrong with him," because this is before I knew about all the stunt stuff. Right. I knew who you were vaguely, but I didn't know all the information. And like, oh, he doesn't bend the right way because his birthing and all this stuff. I was like, oh, okay. Now I know. It's like, because that motherfucker's a badass. He punched his wrist back in place. You want to hear some real shit? Break your hand and then do this.
Yeah.
Tell me how you fixed it.
So it was up on top, like, because I hit the ground like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do it like most people, like sticking their hands up.
Yeah.
My hands, I just let go, and as I went down, like, it just hit so hard, it just popped my wrist up. And when it did, it cracked the bone in my wrist. Like, it cracked it this way. It didn't break it off.
It just
broke
cracked it
into the bone. So there wasn't anything they could do but just, like, put a cast on it. And they're like, who set this? And I'm
like, hope for the best.
I did.
Dr. Juan.
How did you do it? And I was like, well, I freaked out.
Grabbed it, yanked it.
No, I just slammed it on the concrete and just started punching it until it went back into place. And they're like,
it's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
They're like, that's not how you're supposed to do it, but it worked. So cool.
I love it's not how it's supposed to do it, but that's how it worked.
I mean, it's like when my cousin and I rolled this van and I flew out. Probably should have been wearing a seatbelt.
Nonchalantly, me and my cousin rolled this van. Best guess.
I just flew
There's
out.
this big scar on my head.
Yeah, we can tell. Is that from the van?
Yeah. So.
Okay, come on, tell us.
I'm laying and I hurt my back, my knee real bad. And so they're so about this scar on my head. And I'm like,
hey, I'm alive, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man.
Get fucked. Yeah.
I'm like, I can't straighten my knee. And they're like, yeah, it'll be fine. We need to. I'm like, no, my head is fine. Trust me. And they're like, no, your head is not fine. You're bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just bleeding. It doesn't hurt. I'm like, my knee. I can't straighten my knee, and my back hurts real bad. And they're like, that'll be fine in a few days. And I'm like, man. Then, so the doctor comes in and he's like, I'm gonna shoot you in the head with the steel. And I'm like, no. Like, when it comes to, like, getting a shot, I am the biggest pansy ever.
I agree there. I broke my nose.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
I'm covered in tattoos.
Yes.
I hate needles.
I've never had a tattoo. I refuse needles. That's why I didn't do heroin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I said,
I've told my mother that too.
I thought you could just put super glue on this. And the guy's like, no.
Not yours.
And he's like, we need to stitch it. And I'm like, no, man, I think it'd be pretty cool if you just super glued it.
I think it would be better for all of us involved.
And he's like, well, you could tell this dude wanted to, like, make it where the scar disappeared and all. And I'm like, he's like, there's going to be a scar there. And I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, you're like,
chicks
fuck
dig
yeah.
scars.
Yeah. And I go, last I checked, which there was a really hot chick standing there. I was like, last I checked, chicks dig scars. And I winked at that chick, and I should not have done that. Because that dude, he goes, all right, if you want it that way, he just took this Q-tip, put nothing on it, and just crammed it into my head to get the glass, grit, whatever out. And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. And then he's like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, that was it? And he's like,
That's it?
I was like, sweet. I'm glad you didn't stick no more needles in me. He's like, I didn't do nothing. That's what you said you wanted.
I've super glued and duct taped so many cuts and like fillet myself open, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then, I probably should have got stitches, but I'm the same way. I'm like, man, let me just grab this paper towel and wrap it with duct tape, and then go in later and super glue it up.
Yeah, like I'd already broken my nose a couple times. Just I got hit with a croquet mallet.
Right?
What the fuck?
Just a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have to stop. I
was trying to. It was my step cousin. We were playing with him. And I walked up behind him, not knowing he was going to swing and hit me in the nose.
He was about to go 4.
No, he was more like not swinging it like you should.
Right.
He's like fucking Gallagher over there.
But it was, he was like probably 5 and I was 8, like, no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you already catch the
Yeah.
on that. But yeah, so that hurt. It really did. I fell into that stage and it like, almost knocked me out. And my buddy Dennis Hodgson's like, dude, your nose is bleeding. And I'm not talking about like
Here.
it's like bleeding up by your eyes. And I'm like, where are my glasses? And he's like, they're like under the stage. Hang on, man. And I was like, when did they put that step there? And he's like, you haven't been here since they changed it. And I'm like, no.
No, I have not.
So needless to say, I did not see the Dwarves play. I went home real early that night.
Yeah.
And it hurt.
It's so when I fell and
I miss 89th Street when it was just like straight up
oh yeah.
like Murderville in there. It was just raw 2x4s
The
and
fucking
electrical
couch.
wiring. Yeah.
No, man.
The
like,
worst bathroom
you're
in
talking
Oklahoma City.
When it was the green door.
When
That's
it was the green
best.
door. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was there after it was the green door, but when it was 89th Street at the conservatory.
Yeah.
Conservatory was.
Yeah. When I started going, it was conservatory, and it was the worst bathroom in Oklahoma City.
When I started going, it was the worst bathroom.
Yeah.
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 Like, I didn't even try to pee in the urinal because it was so high. I would just pee in the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're that motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Now there was
Same.
a lot. Yeah.
Same.
I would back up.
Short kings.
Well, I would back up and shoot some in there, and then when it got to where it wasn't hitting no more, like, who cares? Everybody else
It's fucking
has
floor
it. Just
drain.
go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I walked into the men's room one time and there was like 4 dudes just pissing in the sink. And I was like, I like looked around. I was like, the urinal's still open, but okay. So,
Yeah. And it, like, buddy of mine, I'd go rub my hands because I have an ex, so I'd go in the bathroom.
yeah.
And I can wash Sharpie off pretty easy, or used to could. So then I'd stand over by that couch, and my buddy would sit at the bar and just
Feed you.
Yeah.
feed
feed you
me
beer.
Lost Lake. But had some good times up there, man. And then when it moved down to Bricktown,
Yeah.
Yeah.
by that time I was old enough to really party down in there. And that's how I ended up meeting like Agent Orange, the Dwarves.
Yeah.
I'm real good friends with Black.
Yeah.
Seen some awesome shows there. And it was a good time.
I mean, it's fun that's one of the things is like, people go like, oh, Spanky's your best friend. And I was like, yeah, he's my brother. And like, he's like 20 years my senior. So he's old enough to be my dad. But like all these bands that I was like a toddler for, where I was like, oh man, this is a shit. And he's like, I saw them in front. He's like, I shot their concert one time for Look 405. Look, OKC. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are they like? And he's like, man, it's pretty cool. I was
Yeah.
like,
I shot like at the green door. It was White Stripes.
yeah.
So I showed up.
I remember
and
them happening.
Jack
See-
White. This was before they got
Yeah.
big. Jack White was sitting outside smoking a cigarette, and so I start talking to him, And then he says who he is, and I was
like, I do upholstery on furniture.
I was like, okay. And then like Blue Door, I met Justin Towns Earl.
Get it out.
Well, yeah, Justin Towns Earl.
Justin
and
Towns Earls.
He had an interesting story. You know, sat out and talked to him for a while, but it was before like they got real big, and then.
Well, that's what was cool. I was hanging out with a bunch of older guys, like Chad Miller, and Kevin.
You know Chad Miller?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started. So like,
actually, about every other Saturday, Chad and I meet up for beers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like he did this tattoo. Not that one. He did this one.
Wrong arm. He did the one that's better over
DJ
here.
did that one.
Yeah.
Chad did this one.
Yeah, I first bar I ever went to.
Oh God, here we go. All right.
Yeah, Blue Note Lounge.
Yeah.
I was 13, and then I used to hang out over on 39th Penn at Rec Room because it was all ages and it was open all night long.
Yeah.
And
so like Chad, Kevin Burden, Brian Dunning,
Yeah.
a bunch of these dudes. We all had a car club.
Yeah.
When I was 18, 17, 18.
Yeah, what was the name of the car club?
Ratty Bastards.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, that was before some of the older dudes have kids, which is weird because now they're like graduating, going to college, and I'm like, wait, I'm that old?
Like, yeah,
you're not really that old anymore. You're like, oh fuck, I'm old, but I'm not really that old.
So, like Big Chad Fairborn, like he was hanging out all the time. He would be in and out of town. Lived in Vegas now for like 20 years. So every time I go out there, I just go stay at his house.
Stay at his place.
Brad, yeah.
Which is nice. Like it's cool to see people move out of your area, but really improve their life. Improve their life, but like also like keep doing kind of the same shit.
Well, like Brian Dunning.
Yeah.
Like he's been doing
he's
been doing his things for 25, 30 years. Long time.
It's like
and
him
it's the same.
Keaton.
And
so I used to live with Brian. I've lived with Brian twice in my life. And the first time I was 22. The second time was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Third time's the charm. Finally put a ring on that finger.
Disgraceland's a trip, dude.
Yeah.
We need to have a party out there.
Yeah. I'm down.
So he shows me this picture, and I'm like, damn, he's in 5th grade. Total Elvis out, pink shirt.
Yeah. He's lived that life.
And he's got some cool stories of why. Like, you guys need to have him on here.
Yeah.
He is on
really cool.
He is on the list.
He is on the
He was
list.
several below you, but he's on the list.
We'll have to give him shit on that
one. But no, I tell you,
he's on the list.
Like, mad respect for that because, like I said, for as long as 25 years that I know of,
yeah,
he has lived that life,
right.
And he is, and what's cool about him is he didn't give a fuck. He is him. Shits. He is him, and that is it. And that is what is so fucking cool because it's like
and that's what's cool about the way I've done things is literally, I mean, props to Brian. He showed me and introduced me to people, and it was like, oh wow, you mean so I could just be me and not give two shits?
Yep.
Now my grandpa on my mom's side, Gene Staten, like he had this little chop top Chevy pickup that was red with black fenders that people would see riding around town.
Yeah,
and he used it as a work truck. He was that way.
Yeah,
you know, he flew an airplane in the 70s to Jamaica to pick up drugs and came back.
Right.
Rolled a 55 Chevrolet, and he rolled a Jaguar off of, he rolled a 55 Chevrolet. My mom has the car now. He drove a 55 Chevrolet to Brownsville to get an airplane, to go to another airplane, to him and his buddy flying to Jamaica, overloading it with marijuana, drugs. I guess.
The drugs.
And flying back, they got into a storm, and because they were so overweight, they'd done it a time or two, so they knew they had to stand on the wing to put more gas in the plane.
Okay.
Well, they run into the storm to where waves are hitting the bottom of the plane, and they're still having to tie each other off and go lean out the door and put gas.
Wow.
You know, in Capitol Hill High School, in the deal that you get when you go to school, the little book thing of rules.
Yearbook,
not the yearbook.
The handbook.
Yeah. it says no motorized vehicles in the school in the hallway, and that's because my grandpa rode a motorcycle through the school in like 55, 6.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
You
then,
come from a long lineage of people. That
Hooligans.
so the first time that I ever,
Yeah.
the first time I ever rode through walls of fire, I come back and this guy had sent me a cool picture. And I'm like, hey, Grandpa, check this out.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have fun? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was cool when I did that back in 1956.
You're
and
like,
I was
thanks, dude.
You're like,
I'm
damn
fine.
it! Can I not have my moment?
He goes, how come the walls aren't solid? And I'm like,
Oh my god.
that's how they told me to make it. He goes, what'd you make it out of? And I told him, and he goes, okay. And he goes, but I only did 1. And I said, well, I did 5. So when I did 21, he came down there and watched me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did he
Like,
clap
that's
or
not-
was he just scenic and he was like, meh?
Yeah, he was like, well, it should have been dark and more gas. I'm like, yeah,
He's
no
like, Chris,
kidding.
bring more gas.
I knew
Like,
Chris,
just
but I didn't
fuck
know
her up.
Chris.
Yeah. He's over there with his Zippo. He's just, hold on. I would love to get the sound effect out. Hold on. Give me a second. So really, he's
Back
just
in
over-
my day, we used napalm.
He's like, there we go.
I mean, he was in the Navy and he jumped off one of the ships and about drowned. And
Wow.
fuck.
dude, it's crazy. I mean, he rode motorcycles too. He was in his mid 70s.
Yeah.
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 You know,
Yeah,
they just
that's awesome.
Okay, so we're about that time. We're gonna have you back on again if you'll be so inclined to come again. But I have to fulfill a childhood dream.
What's that?
What
No.
the fuck?
You cannot touch his no-no place.
That's not what I was asking. that was someone else's childhood dream of mine. No, thanks, thank you.
I mean, I have some chicks that is their childhood dream. Maybe not childhood, but
Yeah, adulthood. We're gonna go with adulthood. She's 14. That's a long running joke.
Grab a buddy burrito, 5-gallon bucket of coleslaw, and the 2 goats out in your backyard.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. So, what was Monster Garage like? You don't have to go through the whole story. We can have you back on again and hide the whole thing. But
Yeah, because that is a whole. We
I
haven't
feel
even,
like that's
we
almost
haven't
a-
even scraped on that.
we didn't even get into him being into television. We just talked
No.
about all the other cool shit beforehand. Okay,
yeah,
so
we didn't even talk about me being in Killers of the Flower Moon.
yeah,
Oh no, shit! Yeah, I forgot you were in.
you
that.
know what's funny?
Yeah.
One of my best friends, I've known him half of my life. He comes down to buy a lamp or a chandelier, and we're buying it. He's like, "Oh, does that one look good?" I was like, "Yeah." So he pulls it off the ceiling. I'm like, "This was in that movie," and they tell him he's like. And they tell him the exact scene it's in. He's like, I guess. So now whenever people come to his house in Tulsa, he's like, oh, yeah, it's in this scene of the movie. And he's like, yeah, that was a little weird. All right, let's get dinner. So what was the Monster Garage like? Was it pretty cool?
That whole experience was so badass.
Yeah.
Like, it had a lot to do with my mindset then. At that time, I was going to be a custom car builder.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm okay with working in the office.
Yeah.
If I push sandpaper, great. If I don't, great.
Yeah.
Like, I would just assume order parts all day and run around. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
I still like getting shops on, but at that time it was okay. I'm gonna go do this, and I knew that the other little people, midget, whatever the hell you want to say,
DLPs.
They had
Yeah.
failed at building
Okay.
that little car with the high booster motor in it.
Okay.
So they told me you're gonna build a mini truck.
So you come back so there was the first episode because you're season 2.
I'm season 5.
Okay. Oh, God, it's been so long.
That was the last season. I was on some of the very last episodes.
Okay. So
So I was on there twice.
Okay.
But the original Little People episode I was not on.
Yeah.
I was on the second one.
The redemption episode.
Yeah,
Quote,
and
unquote.
the whole deal is Jesse promised Body Drop
Yeah.
that they could build a mini truck. But whatever, we built one.
Do you hate mini trucks? Come on, man. Mike Finnegan's going to come on this podcast at some point. He's never wanting that around.
I mean, I've always been kind of retro drag race, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
You're like,
gassers.
yeah,
all
I want
that
a gasser.
Yeah.
I want a
Yeah.
V-body, something like that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm fourth generation hot rod guy. Like,
Yeah, that's why I brought you that
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
exactly.
He was like, I want one of those. I was like, well, I got a guy that has one of those. And that guy is me.
So, you know, I showed up and I heavy into the whole custom culture scene. It's going to Viva all the time. Like, I'm going to make this happen. And I realized the opportunity I had, so I was like, I'm going to make this work. Plus, what a lot of people didn't know was I was so hell-bent on I was going to win this toolbox. My dad's like, no way. You're a body man.
The fucking toolbox.
There is no way. Like, you're not a fabricator, which I'm not.
Well,
but I made do. And
I made do just like the rest of that fucking television show did.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, he's like, you're a body man. They're trying to say that you're a welder. And I'm like, well, like, my buddy Rodney, he's taught me some welding the last 2 or 3 days. And he's like,
I can stick some shit together.
So
just don't look at those welds. Just don't look at them.
It's a lot of SEMA builds out here right now.
So we had just moved into our shop that we're in.
Yeah, the current one.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to put my toolbox over here. And he's like, so you're already planning this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to win.
I'm going to win.
And if you watch the whole, if you can find the whole episode.
It's hard to find them.
Yeah, then you can tell, like, when I start getting, like, pissed off at the end, it's because I'm like, everybody get out of the way. If I got to finish this MFing truck myself, I will. Like,
I want this fucking toolbox.
Yeah. Well, this guy's supposed to be engine guy. Why aren't you figuring this out? This guy's, what's wrong with you people? Like, figure it out.
You're delegating tasks to the people that were appointed to said task. Because Moppin, do you remember the episode, the TV show as a whole?
Like, by the time it ends, it's like I was damn near. Me and Jesse teamed up to tell people what to do.
Yeah, that was what I remember so vividly because my dad was like, he's from Oklahoma. I think I know his dad.
Yeah.
Look at him doing kick-ass shit.
Right.
And then my dad was like, oh, it's canceled. I was like, God damn it.
Then your dad's like, and you're a loser.
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, that was
Hold the damn flashlight.
What's cool is I did not inquire to be on one. They came to me.
Which is fucking wild.
So they were wanting to do another Little People episode.
Yeah.
And this dude knew about this girl I was dating that was a little person chick. And she lived in Kansas. And
it's a long drive.
Yeah, especially when you're like 22 and no money.
Oh, fuck, that's a super long drive.
That is a long drive. It's a long way to go to just touch a titty.
Yeah.
Hey, luckily for me, like,
I mean, I've driven further.
She was a little older, so she came down to meet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna meet you in Ponca.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of that's a whole other story.
We'll talk about that one later. It's off mine.
As we know, there's not too many of me, so like how I even got her is I just showed up to a Little People meeting, and like it's supposed to be like swimming pool and all that, and I showed up, big ass pompadour, black shirt, sleeves rolled up, jeans cuffed, boots on, in a pink 62 Cadillac with a case of beer, and I'm the only one drinking. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go swimming for a little bit. Oh, hey, Brian's playing here a little bit. I got to go help him load in.
Yeah.
Total lie, but
Right.
I knew if I could get her there, he'd put me on stage to sing, and I knew I could seal the deal. And it worked for a while.
You know what? Got the deal done.
Hey, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So this guy, man, I can't. Joe Childs. He hits me up and says, "Hey, I got your number from Misty. You know, we had broken up by this time, but we're still friends." And he's like, it's kind of creeping on your girlfriend's page. I'm like, oh, it's ex-girlfriend, no big deal.
Yeah.
So they just start sending me all the stuff, and I fill it all out. And so here's a funny little thing. If you watch, I never hardly have the same T-shirt on, more than just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went to all my buddies that had all these shops.
Yeah.
It got all these T-shirts.
Yeah.
I still do shit like that today. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to go to Grand National Roadster Show, and I'll show up with like 15 T-shirts and 1 pair of pants. Like,
proud wearer of the Chubby Boy Magic T-shirt.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm just working, like, from day one, I'm getting frustrated that we have to do all this special bullshit. And I'm like, man, and I missed my flight on the way out there.
Of course.
Yeah, I was like, wow, way to go, dude. I done bought them.
Yeah, you're like, fuck. All right.
So, anyway, I start meeting everybody and catching rides with them. I'm just like, as soon as they say go, and that was something that Jesse came to me. He's like, dude, you're like, calm down a little bit. Like, we have to do all this other stuff to make a TV show.
He's like, you're making me look bad.
I'm like, no. He's more like, you're making me look good because you're like,
getting
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're getting at it. All these other guy got hurt the first 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Then the more I talk to him, the more like, well, I work at a car lot, but I'm just like the spokesman, or I'm really an accountant, but I like cars. And come on, it's like, okay, we're hot rodders. I'm like, all right, good.
Like, you guys are my peoples. Everyone else just hang over here.
Yeah.
But me and Body Drop really clicked.
Yeah.
Like, even though he's big into mini trucks and I can't stand him, he's a cool guy. We've talked multiple times afterwards.
Body Drop does seem really cool. So
he's super cool. Chris is a good dude. And matter of fact, one night we went bar hopping. He wanted to go to the strip club and show me around. So we went. And on the way back, we were about to get pulled over for hauling ass in his little fart pipe.
Yeah.
And so he pulled into the shop and honked the horn, and the security guard let us in. So while we were in there, he goes, hey, we're not supposed to do this, but I don't know how this pipe bender works, so help me. So the little thing that goes over the rear end to kind of help hold the bars and all that.
Yeah.
We built that at like 2 o'clock in the morning drunk because neither one of us knew how to use the pipe bender. So we hit it and then went over and started bending one, and then just like chunked it in the corner and stuck it on there and like, hey, look what we did. And they're like, somehow it came out. They're like, y'all don't come back over here again at night. Like, we'll fire both of you right now.
And you're like,
damn
but I
it.
don't know what we're talking about.
And then Jesse came in and was like, hey, if they were in here at 2 a.m. drunk and like made that because it actually was straight, they're like, these guys, let them be.
Yeah. Let him be. Jesse's like over there like, hey man, they're cool.
So then as it went on, Jesse kept fucking with Body Drop hard. He's like, hey, you better step your game up. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, he knows about AM fittings, you don't.
Yeah.
So he's the one that went over and wrote the whole list. He's like, the guy building the engines doesn't even know all the different fittings we need. He went over there and just wrote it all down and gave it to the parts guys. Like, hey, go get me these fittings and this will work.
Yeah.
And that's because that's what I do. That's what I've done for a long time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just went and kind of messed with extra fittings until I was like, we need one this size that goes to this size. And here's, wrote it all down.
You're like, I think it's an AN-6 to a -4.
No, like now I can just be like, here, do it like this. But at that time, I was 24 when we filmed that one. So it was 2005. They aired in 2006. The second one I did, I was 23, 24 when I filmed the other one because we filmed it in January.
Yeah.
So in that, we filmed one in October, one in January. And the second one I was on was the very last episode that ever got filmed.
It's so wild.
Of the original Monster Garage.
Right. They brought it back since, but I mean, this ties back to Oklahoma because it's like talking to Brian, our friend over at the Chop Shop, talking to you. This is a very personal thing for me, but it's just really cool to be able to meet somebody like that was a hero of mine when I was a kid. But like you're still out in the field, and you're still doing that cool shit.
What was cool is from that I got to do the All-Star episode that was the very last one.
Yeah.
Daryl Starbird was on it, Gene Winfield.
Dude, we haven't even gotten into those two legends yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Starbird has done for just Oklahoma in general.
Oh, I can go.
Having it in our backyard.
Yeah.
Like that is because that is actually, it's surprising how that has turned into the show.
Would you like to go to Ames, Oklahoma? But like, no, it's another car show. But
let's go.
But like, I was just.
Are you asking me if I'm down for a random trip to the middle of
We
nowhere?
gotta schedule a little better than what I just said. But like, it's one of those deals. It's like, there's so much influence that comes out of Oklahoma. We think that so many cool kids come out of California or the West Coast or the East Coast.
You need to listen to my buddy Tim Strange's.
Dude, I want to meet Tim Strange because he's a wild motherfucker.
So I've known Tim since I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around Tim being. in the scene and doing stuff as that long, but also it's Tim. So yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot older than you think he is.
I know. He doesn't look it.
Well, I mean, when you don't drink and ride bicycles or do things right.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to hear it. Okay.
and when you got Carrie for a wife.
Yeah,
like, you know.
no shit. So, okay, well, so we're at time. Will you come back on again? Can we lock that in?
100%.
Can we lock that in?
I mean, I got beer. Matter of fact, if you want, we can keep going and you can cut it into different episodes.
No, because he's old. He's got to go home. So, yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Mike Cook, where can we find where can I guess find you at again?
Okay. Instagram, it's Evel Midget.
Evel Midget. Okay, and that's spelled as
EVEL.
Okay.
Midget.
Okay. He's like, I didn't learn school.
Because I was going to make like a fan page Instagram, kind of. And so there's The Evel Midget on Instagram, but don't follow that one because I don't use it.
Okay.
Just Evel Midget.
Okay.
Straight up. The Evel Midget on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then just Mike Cook.
Just go Google Mike Cook because that's going to give you a lot of shit.
There's some funny stuff on there, but for the most part, with the first couple pictures, you'll be like, obviously, see that crazy 4 foot tall looking dude? I want to, what's up with that guy?
Dude.
Surrounded by all the hot chicks. Yeah, that's the one.
Mike, so thank you so much for coming on, dude.
I've had a blast. I'll come anytime.
Tell everybody you know. It's cool. Come on.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you guys. All right. On the other note, there's the ending music, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.
All right, see y'all later.
Mostly because I got to go pee.
And I need a beer.